Bendy and the Dark Revival was officially released in stores around the world on November 15, 2022. The hugely successful title has become for many the worthy successor to the first chapter. But not everyone remembers how tormented the making of this game was. Like the constant postponements that for years have plagued and left fans high and dry. This video traces the entire development of the game, from its official announcement to the day of release, rediscovering twists and turns, changes in art direction, but most importantly, the narrative change of the story itself. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bendy and the Dark development to begin. Let's start with the basics. It was August 31st, 2018, and Bendy and the Ink Machine was receiving its final chapter, the last reel. Players around the world eagerly finished the game, being shocked and devastated by its ending. Now the question was logical. What now? Fortunately, it didn't take long before Joey Drew Studios released on February 10th, 2019, a new video on their official channel where you could clearly hear Joey Drew talk about big news coming.
Big things are coming. Massive things. You just watch.
But the real twist was at the end of the video, where it said Bendy will return. Not surprisingly, a short time later, Mike Mood confirms that yes, a new game is in development, but it will be neither a sequel nor a prequel. This in its own way gave a chance to theorize about a possible game set at the same time as Ink Machines. But in the end, we all found out that was not the case. Continuing on, two new announcements are made. Another video about Wally Franks, similar to the one about Joey Drew, while the other was a simple post confirming once again the existence of a new title. The entire month of March is punctuated by the arrival of videos about Piedmon, Alice Angel, and Jack Fane. And finally, a final video released on April 1st that mixes the various phrases from the previous videos to eventually let us hear the voice of a new character.
Massive things.
That smile.
You just learn to go with it.
He's always watching me.
You just watch.
How very interesting. Such knowledge.
That was Wilson. The video reveals that an initial teaser would be released on April 14th that would show the title of the game at the very least. From there, an Ink Machine video was shown on April 14th. It was very enigmatic, and many thought Allison was alluding to a video game where our choices matter. And finally, the reveal of the title, Bendy and the Dark Revival. From here, it would create a real cult following for fans. As from that year on, every April 14th or 414 would come out with important announcements for the future of the franchise. Sort of a meme in short. On June 23rd, 2019 comes a tweet revealing that the trailer would be released. And in fact, the next day, a small teaser trailer appears on YouTube revealing the graphical aspect of the game. And, mamma mia, it was cool. The graphics were to the max. The enemies were much scarier than the first title, and in addition, it introduces a new mechanic, the ability to banish monsters. But the real twist had been shown in the last second of the trailer. A precious second later, deleted findable only by those who reloaded the trailer at the time. The first chapter would be released that same fall. The community went crazy. Finally, after a whole year of silence, Bendy was going to make a comeback. He's bigger than ever. The premise was all there, and everyone was in hype. Too bad. The game didn't come out. On December 13th, 2019, a new video came out, with graphics that were always at their best but revealed that the game would not come out that year but in 2020, the year after. The community mourned, some complained, some were angry, and some accepted it willingly, but it had left a hole in everyone's heart. On the other hand, shortly before on November 8th, the face of the main character, Audrey, had been announced. Toys to buy had also been announced, but I'll come back to that later. For now, let's move on. It's 2020 and people are eagerly waiting for the game. It was thought for the majority that development had only been moved up a few months, And because of that, the game would be released in 2020. Never anyone would have thought it would not even be released that year. On June 1st, 2020, another video comes out. Why BATDR is taking so long. This was not an apology video, but a justification for their delay. Namely, that they had shelved the idea of having the game released fragmented into chapters to have it released complete. After a few more small 3D models of random-looking objects, we arrive at November 30th, 2020, where, with a post on social only, the studio once again apologizes for not being able to make the schedule stick. So the release date slips to the year after that, 2021. Even here at 2021, there wasn't much to tell. A few images released a little when it suited them, and some merchandise. But there was no sight of a release date. Comes 2022, the year the game finally came out, but not before keeping its community on its toes once again. With these last images, one could really think that development was over, and luckily confirmation came on October 31st at Halloween, when a video announced the existence of a trailer coming the next day. So on November 1st, Bendy and the Dark Revival was finally shown properly with an official date set for November 15th, exactly 2 weeks from now. Now they had stopped wasting time. So we got to the end of this story, the game came out, and we all were left happy and content, right? Well, not exactly. You see, there is one last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up the video, which is that the final version of the game was not the initial version they were working on. Let's review the first official teaser together. In the ending, we can see Audrey banishing a Piper, but if we look at the background, we notice a barrel that just so happens to be right at the beginning of the game, instead of the final version, and this barrel is in Chapter 3. In the trailer postponing the release, we could see a deformed, threatening-looking monster, a character that was relegated to being a mindless idiot in the final version. At the beginning, they had released screenshots that focused on the Butcher Gang, making us think that they would play an important role in the story. Instead, they barely appear. Finally, the Ink Demon itself has changed. Do you remember that merchandise? Here, we had a t-shirt and an action figure about the Ink Demon. Do you see anything? Exactly. That's not the Ink Demon we got at the end of the game. I know there's a story behind it, but it seems made to justify his mysterious change of appearance. In short, for sure, when developing a video game, many things change. Changes of innovation, recycling of ideas, but most of all, cuts. Cuts that led Bendy and the Dark Revival and its trailers to be almost two different products. Maybe it's just me, but I have a feeling that this shouldn't have been the initial story. But whatever. I loved it, the community loved it, and that's okay. Everybody wins. I just can't get this aftertaste in my mouth of mystery out of my mind. What was the game supposed to be like? Were there other plans for Audrey? Who is, or better said, was the Ink Demon? All of these are mysteries that may never see the light of day. I thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, put like, or comment and subscribe to the channel. Well, I said it all. Ciao.